would say when people reach out for help, predominantly they are looking for help because they're obviously lacking consistency. And you'll generally lack consistency because of your impact position. So a very common sort of amateur position would be the handle, or let's look at it this way. If I was to draw a line here through both of my ankles, what we're looking to do is to make sure that the hands are always leading, coming in towards this position. So you can see where my hands get to that line ahead of the club head, right? As opposed to most amateurs, we're trying to get this way. So the club head reaches that line ahead of the hands, and that lends itself to just inconsistency. So what the problem is with that is sometimes a sequencing issue in the downswing. Don't get me wrong, it's not just one issue. But the most common one actually is generally linked to the backswing position. And the reason for this is golfers tend to get the wrong sort of narrative, and they get their hands and arms operating, if you like, too close towards the body. So a really good reference, and I've had some questions about this with some students, is with the elbow, right? So quite a few students have kind of tried to get the elbow lower or get the arm flatter to try and help them get into a better position, or I've had students that have done the opposite. They've tried to get their arms higher, right, to combat this. So I wanted to just clarify exactly what it is that you should be looking for. So the first thing is the role of the trail hand in the backswing position is basically to try and support the club staying on plane. Okay, so if I got set up here and we drew a line continuing through my target line, and I sort of take the club back. In the backswing, you want to try and keep the club shaft pointing down towards your target line. It's just much easier to drop the club down on plane rather than deviating too far off. So therefore, your trail arm should be operating perpendicular to that, okay? What we don't want it to be doing is, doing something indifferent, because again, it's just not the most sort of natural biomechanical thing to be doing. Now, depending on your lead arm, okay, so if you're somebody who swings really high or you're somebody who swings flatter, that's going to change how this arm looks. So obviously if I'm somebody who swings pretty textbook, through my lead arm, through my shoulder plane, then my right arm is going to look like this. If I swing flatter, say like Hogan was, it's going to look more this way. You swing higher, it's going to look more this way. Now, if you swing higher or lower from that sort of back perspective, that's going to change how close that elbow is to you, right? But the key thing is that visually it doesn't matter. If you're somebody who swings it this way, flatter, the club face is going to look stronger, your arm's going to look closer, obviously there's nothing wrong with this position. Your hands are still a good width away from you, which I'll come on to in the concluding part of the video. If you're somebody who prefers going up here, equally that's absolutely fine. So what does matter is the distance between the upper arm and the forearm. And what we don't want to do is we don't want to get this too close. If this starts getting too close, that's when you're going to have a problem. If this arm starts bending too much, then all of a sudden then your hands are going to get too close towards your body. They're going to get too stuck. They're going to come down too narrow in the start of the downswing, and then you're going to have to flip the width at the bottom. You want to try and think more about maintaining width here. They can operate wider in the start of the downswing, and then they can come through towards the bottom part of the swing. So to overcome this problem, first of all, you need to identify whether it is a problem. Because I tend to, when I first start working with a lot of students, online, or people that come through that door, they're often trying to change things they don't need to change because it's not actually a fault in the first place. So you need to be careful of that. Second thing you can do, just some trail hand only swings. Okay, quite a difficult thing to do, but you do tend to find, or I tend to find with my experience, that students tend to operate in a very sound golf swing when you just take out one of the hands. Because if your objective is to swing that golf club back with one hand, it's really unlikely that you're going to try and lift the club up into a funny position. You're just going to sort of take the club back into a very simple position that you can return it back down into. See you guys again really soon.